Now it's good. If it's gonna start blinking, you let me know. Blue or red? Blue. Blue, red, doesn't it? It blinks.
Is he ready? Yeah. Rabbi's going to be here soon. So we have the great honor to hear Rabbi Mizrachi, world-renowned speaker, to come speak to us. Hope you all enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everyone here. It's the first time I'm here. And we decided the topic tonight will be how we can elevate ourselves spiritually, which is one of the hardest things to do in life. Many people are trying. Eventually, after 20 years, they step in square one. They go on, off, 2 steps up, 2 steps down. In the end, after 20 years, sometimes you see a person that is frum, he's exactly like he was 20 years ago. No progress whatsoever. And that's unfortunately the majority of the frum Jews in the world. They're not going higher. Unless if they're really, really deep in Torah and constant, not on and off, constant, many years from morning to night, then you see they grow up tremendously. Also in their behaving, in their derech eretz, and many other things. Most of the people that go in and out, it's just like putting water on a fire, on and off, on and off, on and off. It never boils, never gets to a high temperature. So that's really the challenge of life. The challenge of life. The way the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, the Satan, is fooling us every second of our life. Who knows what's the main trick that the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, is using to make us fail in our mission in life? That we will try to do the right thing, but eventually we're left with nothing. What's the main trick that he's using? Who can put his finger on the main problem? What is it?
Laziness.
Keeping us busy.
Very good. Thank you. Keeping us busy all the time with nonsense. But not only keeping us busy with nonsense, drawing the nonsense to us like a very important thing in life. If we knew it's nonsense, after 3, 4, 5 weeks, we're tired of nonsense, normally. But we are doing it for 20, 30, 40 years, from morning to night, around the clock, every week, and we are thinking that we're creating such an important things in life. In reality, there are 3 different categories of sins that a person does. 3 different categories. One, in his thoughts, dirty thoughts, all kinds of dan lekaf chova, not giving the benefits of the doubt to someone. So these are sins that a person can do with his mind. And there are sins that a person does with his mouth. And there are sins that a person does with his hands, with his actions, with his feet, with his body, which is the entire body is involved. The mind, the mouth, the body. We have a question to ask. In the parasha, we saw 2 different things. One sin is Avodah Zarah, one is Shabbos. Usually they always go together. You see in the Rambam, Shulchan Aruch, Mechalel Shabbat befaresya v'oved kochavim, always go together like a husband and wife. Always together. Which means they're more or less in the same category. 2 very severe sins. Mechalel Shabbos is breaking the foundation of his Judaism. Horrible things were said about someone who is Mechalel Shabbos, b'mezi. Not a tinok shenishba, but someone who knows and ignores Shabbat. It's like a goy. הרי הוא כגוי לכל דבר. In 7 different places in שולחן ערוך. It says clearly, leaves no doubt. הרי הוא כעובד כוכבים. הרי הוא כגוי לכל דבר. All the laws apply to Ahmed, applies to him. 100%. With one exception to the rule that Ahmed is better than him. What is it? That if Ahmed wants to bring Korban Todah to Bet HaMikdash, מקבלים ממנו, the Rambam writes. But if this משומד, Mechalel Shabbos, the language of the Rambam, not mine, brings it, you're not allowed to accept it from him. So in a way, the goy is not as bad, even though we're comparing here. That's good, that's good. So Oved Kochavim is one of the 3 sins that it's considered Yehareg Velo Ya'avor. We have 3 sins we all know. גילוי עריות, שפיכות דמים, and עבודה זרה. Person has to give his life, say Shema, מת על קידוש השם. Let me ask you a question. If a person murdered another person to save his life, then we understand why it's so bad. You cannot reverse the sin. That's it. You cannot bring that person back to life. Person went chas v'shalom with a married woman, the sin cannot be fixed. Asura al ba'ala, all kinds of things. So we understand that it's a very severe thing. But what's so severe about avodah zarah when a person is not interested to bow down to this idol? Hashem choker klayot valev. If a guy puts a gun to my head and he tells me bow down to this stupid getchke that I have here, if not I'll kill you. So what's the problem? I'm gonna do it thinking Hashem hu Elokim. And let him go and go back and learn another 30 years of Torah and do some good things, no? I have to give up my life and neglect my children and my yeshiva and my whatever I do, everyone with his great things he does in life, just because the goy decided to play a game with him? That's one question. Second question is, we know that Tzlofchad was the first Mechalel Shabbos. Tzlofchad. But he was doing L'Shem Shamayim. Chazal is teaching us that he wanted to teach everyone the punishment of Mechalel Shabbos. So he wanted to see that he's going to be put to death. Everyone will learn, Le'ma'an yiru ve'irau. So Tzlofchad did a sin or he did a mitzvah? He did something great, L'Shem Shamayim. He wanted to prevent Chilul Shabbat. And also it's melacha she'en tzarich legufa. He didn't need the melacha, lekoshesh. So why Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu to kill him? It wasn't the typical Chilul Shabbos. Person wants to drive because he wants to make money. Or all kinds of, goes on vacation, or wants to smoke a cigarette. Then we understand. But here, I'm giving my life, I want to give my life to save the kavod of the Shabbat, and for that you have to kill me? Where is the justice? The Gemara brings a story that there was one Chassid that one time he thought on Shabbat how to fix his fence. The fence fell down, and he started to think, I'm going to fix it, Motzi Shabbos, this, and then he started to think, wait a minute, what am I thinking about? Uvdan dechol, things, the Maaser shel Yom Chol on Shabbos, even though it wasn't a sin, it was only in his mind. He didn't go and do anything on Shabbat. But then he decided, I'll never fix this fence, because I thought about it on Shabbat, I make a decree, I punish myself, I don't fix this fence. The robbers come, they come, fine. But I give myself a punishment. Today, how many times you find people who judge themselves every day for what they did wrong and penalize themselves? I used to give lectures 15 years ago in Queens, many young guys. And Israelis have a little bit, their blood is a little bit harder than the Americans. So they make a lot of noise. Arguments in the lecture. You say 3-4 sentences, a debate begins. Another minute, another debate. Another minute, like this all night. Then I started to think, how will I solve the problem here? That we can finally have a lecture. So I decided, I said, let's agree that everyone who break into my words, put $5 in a box for the yeshiva, penalty. So one guy, so I thought I solved the problem. So one Israeli got up, and he said, okay, Kvod Arav, took $20. He said, Here is 4 times in advance. That I can break it. It didn't help. They put, all night they put money. 5. The yeshiva made money. But lecture we didn't have there. So the question is now, this Hasid did not want to fix the fence, and na'asa lo nes. He had a nes. A tree grew up. What tree? Tzlaf. Tzlaf, chad. Chad in Aramaic is 1. Tzlaf is the name of the tree. Tzlof chad. The Ari says Gilgul of Tzlof chad. Hashem sent him back in reincarnation. Now, in his previous life was Mechalel Shabbos. Now, not only is Shomer Shabbos, it's Shomer Shabbos 100% in his mind even. He's not even thinking about things of Yom Chol. But we still have to go back to our question. Why someone who bowed down to an idol, knowing Hashem is the only God, and is not interested in this stupid idol, just doesn't want to die, and Tzlofchad, who did it also Hashem Shamayim, why both of them has to put to death? What do we learn from here? This is something that constantly repeats in the Torah. Many times you speak to people about religion, they answer, Ani dati balev. I'm religious in my heart. I'm religious in my mind. I love the Torah so much. One time a guy came to my house. I have a shul in the house. So on Shabbos, when, the Chilonim, the secular Jews, they have some very nice minhag. As soon as they come into the Beta Knesset, what is the first thing they like to do? Who knows? Beautiful. Mizuzah, they kiss all the time, not only on Shabbos. They come to the parochet and they think it's the Kotel HaMa'aravi. Stand like this 5 minutes, talk to Hashem. So one guy came to me, this Yemenite guy. And I came to him and I said, listen, do you hear the scream? Now we live in Muncie, it's quiet there in Shabbos. No cars, no that. So he said, I said, do you hear the screaming? I said, no, what screaming? I said, try to think, try to listen. I said, I don't hear anything. I said, the Torah is screaming. Don't kiss me, listen to me. I'm tired of all these kisses. It's about time to listen to me. This is what Hashem said. כל יום יוצאת בת קול מהר סיני, מהר חורב, אוי לבריות מעלבונה של תורה. Everyone has the Torah on his shelf, not us, I hope. And it's full of dust, 2 inches of dust on the top. You take it out after 20 years, you get an allergy. So much dust. But you kiss it every day. Mezuzah, this, of course. But to come to action, no. I'm religious in my heart. I'm a greater believer than you. What do you think? Just because you dress like this and do ABC, you better a religious guy than me? That's what they say. But according to the Torah, it always ends, Hashem say, to do, in the end, always come the word לעשות. ועשיתם, לעשות. This is עולם העשייה. If it came to עשייה, it's a mitzvah or a sin. If it didn't come, most of the time it's nothing. It's like demo in a stock market. You want to be a broker? 1 month you play, you buy, sell stocks. Wow, you're up $1 million. Then your boss come to you and say, you fool. You're in demo. It's not real. Why are you screaming, jumping? It's nothing. The transactions really don't go to the stock market. If you're not really doing, yeah, you learn, you know, you understand, you appreciate Hashem. You didn't do it, it's nothing. We see here that Avodah Zarah, even if you mean good, you want to do something good, you don't want to die. It's pikuach nefesh, v'chai b'hem. You love Hashem, while you're doing it, you're thinking Hashem hu Elokim. What action overcome your thoughts? That's it, my friend. You bow down to this idol, you violated one of the 3 Yarek velo yavor. Also Chilul Shabbos. Chilul Shabbos, fine. You mean well. You want people to respect Shabbat. Bottom line, you violated Shabbat. And Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, do it. And of course, it's much, much deeper than that. I want to tell you a few interesting things here tonight. Rav Chaim Ivolozhin, everybody know who he was, the Talmid of the Gra. This is what he said in his drasha. חייב כל אדם לראות עצמו, every person must see himself, כאילו הוא אחד מאלה, like he's one of, שהמשנה בסנהדרין אמרה עליהם, like he's one of the people that the Mishnah in Sanhedrin spoke about them, שאין להם חלק לעולם הבא, that they lost their share to the world to come, חס ושלום. Every person must see himself every day in his life, I am one of these people. Not like the goyim say, think positive, think positive. Think positive, you die Rasha. You evaluate yourself honestly, you see where you are. Maybe I need an improvement. That's why the Chazal say in Pirkei Avot, love those who mochiach you. They come to criticize you, to correct your way. You should love them, not the people who compliment you. The nature of a person, his friends are the ones who give him the most compliments. He loves them. Why? They're not a challenge for him. They're not a threat. Someone to tell me the truth in my face, right away is my enemy. Nobody likes to hear the truth. This is one of the things that we must work on. That we have to be honest first with ourselves. Even to cheat yourself is a sin. And that's a tremendous sin, because cheating others, no, at least supposedly you're hurting them, but at least maybe you didn't hurt yourself. But lying to yourself all the time, where are you heading to? To the opposite direction. And the grave is deeper and deeper and deeper. One day you have to come back up. It's not so simple. So he says like this, every person must see himself like he's one of the people that the Mishnah in Sanhedrin said that they have no share to the world to come. And the Gemara, what did the Gemara say about this Mishnah? Who knows? The Gemara comments about this Mishnah in Sanhedrin. The Gemara say, כגון אחד שיכול ללמוד תורה ואינו לומד. Gonna get goosebumps all over our body here. Not talking now murderer, Chal Shabbos, who knows what. Talking someone who play with Europe games, baseball games. I don't know, playing cards. Yarmulke and a beard and everything is fine. It's 5 o'clock in a shul already. But he doesn't like to learn so much. This is the Mishnah. So what does it say? You can learn and you don't learn. Chas v'shalom, the Mishnah said, he can lose his share to the world to come. But he keeps all the mitzvot. Taryag mitzvot. Just one from the Taryag. He's not keeping so well. The only problem is, he chose the wrong one to violate. What? לימוד תורה כנגד כולם. ביטול תורה כנגד כולם. It's all equal. To the positive, to the negative. לימוד תורה כנגד כולם, ביטול תורה כנגד כולם. And all the audience, this is about 200 years ago, about 8 generations ago. That's all. All the crowd were crying so bad when Rav Chaim Ivolozhin was saying these words that he couldn't finish his drasha. He had to step down from the noise of the crying. How many times we heard people say more or less the same thing? Doesn't even bother us. For that, we have to cry. We don't have to cry that we're far away from the Torah and we're not makpid. No, we're not in this level even. So at least let's cry that we're not in this level. Let's cry that it doesn't bother us. For that, we have to cry. That it doesn't bother us, that we have no problem going 8, 9, 10 hours wasting time and not learning. And remember, Hashem said, הלוואי ואותי עזבו ואת תורתי שמרו. Unbelievable. You hear this statement? Let me translate. Hashem say, I wish they left me, my children, the Jews. I wish they left me, but they still learn my Torah. How can it be? It sounds like a contradiction. The whole purpose of the Torah is we come close to Hashem and correct ourselves, no? That's the glue between us and Hashem. That's the agreement. That's the marriage. בריתי, אם לא בריתי יומם ולילה, חוקות שמיים וארץ לא שמתי. Thanks to the Torah, the world runs. Without the Torah, there's no world. No laws of gravity, no laws of all the galaxies, all the movements. Nothing will work without the Torah. So what's the point? So Hashem says, Or sheba machziram lamutav. Don't worry, it's a matter of time. They left me, they don't pray to me, they don't talk to me, they don't care about me, they're ungrateful to me, fine, better. As long as they learn Torah, things will work out eventually. They don't learn Torah, with me, without me, it's just a matter of time until they leave me for good. אם תעזבני יום, יומיים אעזבך. But if you learn Torah, don't worry, you'll come back to me. So what's the solution? I never found, in 17 years that I speak in different places, and I've been in many, many different places, and so many thousands of people, I never found one person, באמת אבל, it's not an exaggeration, not one time I found a person that went higher in his spiritual level without devote himself to learning, to Torah learning. Just no hocus pocus, no magics here, no shortcuts. The deeper you're in it, the closer you are to Hashem. That's a formula, like math. They cannot go wrong. When you're not so serious in your learning, you think it's college, one day you show up, one day you don't show up, you copy from your friend, the test is tomorrow. Yeah, depend on your mood. That's how your life look. And the bottom line is, if you don't believe what I say, always go to two different minyanim. A minyan of balebatim that learn hardly an hour a day or nothing, and a yeshiva. Every yeshiva you want. Go Yerushalayim, Bnei Brak, Monsey, Brooklyn, anywhere you go. Every time you go, you look at the davening. Compare, take a video camera, compare the learners, those who are busy 9, 10 hours learning, and those who are busy with business. See the difference of the level of the Yirat Shamayim. The davening with phones, without phone, the mind is over there, the mind is in the business. 1.5 minutes is finished already, 18. Doesn't remember a word of what he said. In the middle of 18, he found himself in China. He doesn't remember how I got here. This is nature. Nobody can say I'm making up stories. But someone who's connected to the Torah, it's affecting every vein of his body. Right away, it changes his entire mentality. Priorities of things in life are changing. And it can be a person that learned all his life Torah until a certain age, and then he goes to business, and from that moment on, you see a tremendous drop in his behaving. And it doesn't need years. 1 or 2 weeks, he's already 50% down in his level. I remember when I went to Eretz Israel, to a city that is not so frum, Bilshon Amata. In case you don't understand, what does it mean not so frum? So the 800,000 Russian goyim that came to Israel, they opened in that city 150 stores to sell chazir, pork, in one city, 150 stores. They understand what's going on in that city. So 2.5 days I was there, and the third day I already felt I don't have the desire to get up to minyan in the morning. Started to think, should I get up in the morning or should I pray home? Only 2.5 days out of my environment. And already I didn't have the desire. The air that you breathe in this place and what you see around you, right away made you so far away from Hashem. Such a huge step back. Right away I went to Yerushalayim. Everything turned around right away. Before I even did anything, just walked around. And everything changed. In Hebrew, how do you say atmosphere in Hebrew? Avira. What's avira in Aramaic? Avir, air that we breathe. What's the connection between atmosphere to air? It's two different things in English. But in Hebrew, it's one thing. The air that you breathe in a place of sinners, the air that you breathe already affecting your spirituality. Did you know that? Just the place that sins were done over there, you already got to this place, it's like negative energy, it takes the person down. So there are a few things that we have to be very careful. Besides the connection to the Torah, which I'm sure I needn't tell you anything new that you didn't know before. But that's okay. The Ramchal also started Mesilat Yesharim by saying, I did not come to say anything new. And it's the most legendary Musar book perhaps ever written. Why? And every person has to learn it at least 100 times until he knows it by heart. It helps a lot in a life. It brought a big light to the world. You know, when Mesilat Yesharim came out, they brought a hand-written copy to the Gaon Mivilna. The Ramchal was in Padova, Italy, and the Gaon Mivilna was in Vilna. It's very far away. In the generation, there were no airplanes. If you're a wealthy man, you can afford to take trains. Most people cannot afford. So if you want to go from Vilna to Padova, if you're lucky, you have a horse or a donkey, it may take you weeks to get there. When he arrived to the Perek of Midat HaChasidut, that the Ramchal explained what does it mean, Chasid, a real Chasid, the Gaon Mivilna wore his Shabbos outfit and was ready to get on his way. And this is what he said. He said, big light came to the world. Or Gadol Yarad La'olam. Who is this Chacham that wrote this? I want to go with my feet. I would walk. I would walk to meet him. I told him, Rabbi, it's too late. He just passed away, 39 years old. So this book is very important. Even though technically, almost everything there is Pirkei Avot, Chazal. If you really look at what he says, it's nothing really new, technically. He was right. But it's like oxygen. You cannot live without these words. And even if you heard it 100 times, it's still affecting us when we read it. You read it a few times, it's affecting you. How many of us knows that to give tzedakah is important? It's very difficult for us to give. But when we hear a strong lecture about the tzedakah, and a person comes right after, we give much more than before the drasha. We know it. The drasha didn't tell us anything new about tzedakah. Well, we didn't know that Hashem said in the Torah, thanks to that I'll bless you in everything you do. But we still didn't do it. But when we heard the darshan speaking very strongly about it, all of a sudden something happened. We gave 10 times more. It happens to me once. I was giving a lecture in Queens. I came with one subject and I ended up completely all of a sudden speaking about tzedakah. I don't know how I got there. And then while I'm speaking about half an hour about tzedakah, the head of the organization walked in and he has a solid rule. No fundraising in his building. Doesn't let anyone come do fundraising ever before. Never. That's not even an option. All of a sudden he walks with a rabbi from Ramot, from Yerushalayim, or some Rosh Yeshiva from Eretz Israel. Doesn't speak a word in English. He came to me whispering in the middle of the lecture. He said to me, it's an emergency, we have to help this Rosh Yeshiva. He has a kollel, he's about to close his kollel. Doesn't speak a word in English. Tell them about his situation. Now remember, before he walked in, for half an hour Hashem twisted my mind. I was speaking about one thing. All of a sudden, I'm speaking about tzedakah, tzedakah, tzedakah. He walked in, 1.5 minutes, $20,000 he collected. He closed his entire problem. I couldn't believe it. He was hoping he collect in 2 weeks, maybe $10,000. 1.5 minutes, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 1,000, $20,000. Everyone took pictures with him, became a good friend of mine. Invited him for Shabbos. Hashem prepared it. Without that half an hour speaking about tzedakah, he'll collect $150. Hashem didn't want him. He had mercy on him. He doesn't speak a word, doesn't know where to go. So that's what happened. The power of the Musar, even though you know it 100%. What, the people who said that didn't know that it's important to give tzedakah? Yeah, you know. And you hear it again, it's affecting you. So what we see here? That even if you know it 100 times and you mezalzel, you don't pay attention. Say, what is this drasha is going to do to me? I heard this Musar 500 times. You'll be surprised. You hear it 501 times, it's still affecting you. That's the power of the Torah. And what pasuk in the Torah say that I'm right? Who can give me the right pasuk? We say it every day 3 times in our davening. Very good, very good. Ve'adata hayom, to know in knowledge is very easy. Hayom, right away. 10 minutes you speak to someone, he proves to you the Torah is divine, you know. Hashem gave the Torah. Ve'ashevotai levavecha. To return it to the heart, it's not so simple. It's going to come out, you have to return it, it's going to come out, you have to return it. That's the battle of life. What are you going to say? Oh, it was already in my mind yesterday, I already know it. No, you don't know it, it's gone. It's going away. It's going away. And this is what's really happening. So, let's talk about something very interesting here. It says like this. We have a mitzvah in the Torah that's called Hocheach Tochiach et Amitecha. You have to do everything you can to improve the ways of every Jew that would accept from you. Not every Jew on the street. We're lucky that it's not every Jew on the street. Because if it would be every Jew on the street, we wouldn't have life. All we had to do is be all day on the street. And hey, excuse me, sir, it's Shabbat today. Why are you getting in a car? Excuse me, why are you doing this? Excuse me, why are you cheating? Excuse me, why are you cursing? Excuse me, why are you dressed like this? Let me ask you a question. From the Gemara, who can bring me a proof that Docheach Tochiach et Amitecha is not only people who would accept from you or you know and you have relationship with? It's everyone. What Gemara can prove it? Who knows? The Gemara says, Rav Ada Bar Ahava walked in the street and he saw a woman in the street that she's not modest. She dressed not modest 2,000 years ago. Here and there you have cases like this. So he jumped on this woman and he ripped her clothes off in the middle of the street. And then it turned that she was a Goya. She wasn't a Jew. So she took him to Beit Din and he had to pay her 400 zuz. It's a lot of money, 400 zuz. How much we write in a ketubah to our wives? 200 zuz. How much is 200 zuz today in our time? An average salary of a family for a year, that they can survive a year. A person can survive about a year with 200 zuz. If he has 200 zuz, he's not an ani. Less than that, he doesn't have enough for a year, he's considered ani that can accept tzedakah. So he had to give her 400 zuz. How much the outfit was? 5 zuz, 1 zuz. 400 zuz for the embarrassment, whatever. I don't know why they had to pay her so much money. What did we learn from this Gemara? Who can tell me? What did we learn from this Gemara? He didn't know her. She wasn't his sister. If it was his sister, his neighbor, I understand. He can talk to her. So first we see that even a man has an obligation to be mochiach, even for a woman. Otherwise, what are you dealing with her now? You're ripping her clothes off. Number 2 is, it gives an answer to the famous question that every one of us ask. Are we allowed to make a zek mammon to our friends to prevent them from committing a spiritual sin? Your friend ordered an expensive dirty magazine and you saw it in his mailbox, cost him $50. You're allowed to burn it or to rip it. Your friend has a television at home and he watched bad stuff. You're allowed to throw it from the window. Rav Moshe Malka is a big tzaddik that comes here to Bnei Yosef a few times a year. I don't know if you ever saw him. He was very close to the Baba Sali. And he's really a kanai to Hashem, zealous. Very, but very. Like you don't see things like this. For instance, if he sits to do a Suda, he doesn't bench until the owner of the Suda will get him 10 men. He doesn't bench without Elokeinu. What is this for, people? Get another seat. All of a sudden, every one of his Suda becomes a party. Bring the neighbor, bring another guest, come in, come, sit with us. If you sit with him to breakfast, 9 o'clock after Shachrit, breakfast ends at 8 o'clock in the evening, and you cannot leave. He speaks Divrei Torah 8-9 hours straight, and you cannot stop him. It's full of fire. One time he went to Mexico. He came to someone supposed to stay by him for Shabbat. He walked into the house. Imagine this situation. You come to someone you don't know. He's doing you a favor. You come to his house for Shabbat. So you arrive 1 hour before and you see he has big television in his living room. So what did he do? He took the television and threw it out of the window. And he said to the person, tell me how much it cost you, I'll pay you. But don't bring another television in the house. The person got very upset. But when he started to see how he talked, he knew it's not a show. It burns his heart that another Jew watched this dirt. So he said, okay, relax, Rabbi, forgive me. He already felt guilty. That's called דברים היוצאים מן הלב נכנסים אל הלב. and hardly the other person speak Spanish. He doesn't speak a word in Spanish. The other person know English. He doesn't know one word in English. The other person doesn't speak Hebrew. I asked him, in what language you spoke to him? I was speaking Hebrew and he was answering in Spanish, but he got the point. This is what happened to the Chafetz Chaim. Chafetz Chaim went, the governor over there in Radin, he decided to put a very high tax on the Jews. Left them no choice. The Jews went very depressed. There's no point of working. So what happened in the end? The Chafetz Chaim that wasn't speaking Polish at all, only Yiddish, came to this goy. They made a meeting. And Chafetz Chaim started to speak in Yiddish, and they brought an interpreter. Before the interpreter say one word, the governor, the goy, say, okay, tell him it's okay, I'll cancel the tax. So the interpreter said, but why? He didn't even hear what he says. He said, it doesn't matter what he say. I already saw the way things came out of his heart. I understand it's a serious problem. He came out of his heart. I already saw how he talks with passion. He canceled the thing. So, the question now is, are we allowed to make damage to our friends to save them? Here, thank you. Thank you very much. We allow, the answer is yes. Every posek you ask today, the answer is yes. And they bring this Gemara as a proof. If she was Jewish, he wouldn't do a zek mamon. He wouldn't make a sin from the Torah with his hands, for sure not. Talking about Rav Ada bar Avayr. So what do you see from here? That it's permitted. What also? The question is, do we have to do the same thing to the Goyim in the Sheva Mitzvot Bnei Noach? Goy has to keep Sheva Mitzvot. Goy is about to bow down to his idol. And makes Hashem upset. It bothers him. Not like when the Jew does it, but still. Are we obligated to be Mochiach the Goyim also? Amitecha is Jews only. Amitecha is Amitecha la mitzvot. But I just show you a way to prove from the Gemara that is every Jew. Not even Chiloni. Huh?
He didn't know she was Jewish.
He didn't know. He thought she's Jewish. He thought she's Jewish and he did it. So from here you see for sure that if he's a Jew, you allow. Eventually you found out she's not a Jew. You had to pay her money. But the question that I'm asking is, if you see a Goy is violating one of the 7 laws, we have an obligation as the light of the world, or la Goyim. We are light to the Goyim. We have an obligation to correct their way or no?
Maybe Mafiach, but not because of damage.
Let me answer this. Even though it's a big mitzvah also to make the Goyim religious, according to the Torah, not according to the 80,000 religions that they made up. According to the Torah, a Goy has to be religious. He has to keep the 7 laws, but it's really 36 laws. If you add everything together, they do all the calculation, it's really about 36. Every mitzvah that is required by common sense, even if a person doesn't know it's in the Torah, is liable to it. That's what it means, derech eretz kadma la Torah. Many people come when they see a religious person who misbehaves and has no manners, so they begin to scream, derech eretz kadma la Torah, shame on you. But they don't really understand what it means. Derech eretz kadma la Torah, what does it really mean? That before Hashem gave us the Torah, the world was 2,450 years running without the Torah. Shortly before the Torah was given, Hashem gave few mitzvot in Mara, fine, Shabbat and others, but there was no Torah. So how did the world run if there was no Torah? The answer is, people made rules. People knew you should not steal before the Torah was given. They knew you should not kill. They knew you have to respect your parents. Every mafia Italian knows it. That your father took care of you, he raised you, he gave you money, he bought you a car, you have to respect your father. Vinny doesn't respect his father Tony? Respects him very much. So he has Torah, it's one of his 10 commandments. How does he know that he has to do it? He knows he cannot throw food in the street, garbage on the street. It's not manners. So they know, the Goyim knows what's right, what's wrong. But the question is, do we have an obligation to teach them? Like some organization make all kinds of website for Noahide to teach them the 7 laws and all. We have an obligation. It's a nice thing to do, but we have an obligation to pay from our money. So the answer is like this. Listen good. It says like this: even though it's mitzvah to make the goyim religious, it's a mitzvah. ולהפרישה מהעבירה, to make them stop with their sins. מכל מקום, there are 4 reasons why it's much more urgent to make the Jews religious before you start with the goyim. You put your energy in making Jews religious. Why? 4 different reasons. Reason number 1, כל ישראל ערבים זה לזה. If I have 2 friends, Yaakov and Yitzchak, Yaakov bought a house and I'm a co-signer on his house. He has to pay the mortgage. What happens if he defaults on his mortgage? It comes to me. I'll have to pay it. So I have to help Yaakov to find a job. If he has a job, I'm going to save myself. Doesn't have a job, both of us go down the tube. But Yitzchak, I'm not a co-signer for him. He doesn't pay, I feel bad for him. But I don't have to go and pay his bills. Makes sense, right? So who should I help? I have 1 job available in my factory. Will I give it to Yaakov or will I give it to Yitzchak? I also love Yitzchak, no problem. Nothing against him. Yaakov becomes my immediate problem. If a Jew don't keep mitzvot, if my neighbor doesn't keep Shabbat, if my cousin doesn't keep Shabbat, I'm liable for it. Why? ולא תישא עליו חטא. הוכח תוכיח את עמיתך, if not, you're guilty. You had to do what you can. So that's already 1 reason why you must deal with that more urgently than others. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2, עניי עירך קודמים. There's a rule in the Torah, not only between Jews and Goyim, between Jews and Jews. If you have $1,000 to give to a poor family for Yom Tov, and it's your sister or a stranger, who do you have to give first? You have your brother who wants to go to yeshiva and he needs a sponsor, and you have somebody from another town that you hardly know. You have to help your brother. You have your neighbor and you have someone 5 blocks away. It comes to even one step away. Who's closer to you? עניי עירך קודמים. Yossi, he comes first, then somebody else. So, there's an obligation. That's an immediate damage. 3rd reason, the spiritual damage that the Jew caused to the world when he sinned is much, much, much bigger than the spiritual damage that the Goy caused to the world. The Goy also ruins the world, but the Jew ruins the world a lot more with these negative actions. תן דעתך על עולמי שלא תחריבו, Hashem say. Pay attention that you don't destroy my world. How I destroy your world? I knock down the mountains? I dry the oceans? How will I destroy your world? Who am I? I'm a little bug in this huge creation. Of course, he's talking about spiritually. Destroy the spiritual world. So, it's a much more urgent tragedy that we have to focus on much faster. It's an emergency. And what's the 4th reason? I'll tell you a mashal, parable, and you understand. A person was told that he has a friend. He was told that his friend's son was kicked out of yeshiva, and he was forced to go to a public school because where they live there's no other yeshiva. So he heard that a Jewish boy, 6th, 7th grade, went to a public school. It burns his heart. Who knows what's going to be now? Who knows what is he going to turn into? Who knows if we're not going to cry forever on this tragedy? He thinks a lot. If he has Yirat Shamayim, he cares about every Jew. But the next day, business as usual. He heads up with a smile, on his phone, business, in his office, everything is fine. What happened if it's his own son that was kicked out of yeshiva? Next day, business is as usual, the problem becomes greater. And he gets up and he sees his son, 9 o'clock in the house. He has to break his head, which yeshiva will accept him, who do I have to beg to, which rabbi I have to call, maybe he's going to help me with his connection. It's killing him. Cannot focus, cannot eat, cannot do anything until the boy will have yeshiva. He may have to be forced to move to a different town and sell his house and mess up his business and lose his job if he cares for the future of his children, which is a main obligation in the Torah. So where is the problem greater? When does it hurt much more? When the son of your friend is kicked out of yeshiva, or when your own son is kicked out of yeshiva? When your own son. If the Rabbi from yeshiva called the parents and said that one student broke the glass and started to curse, and you found out that it wasn't your son, you have a relief. Why you have a relief? It's also a Jew that did it. Because it's not my son, it's not as bad. At least it's not my son. But if it's your son, it hurts you very much. The Torah say that Hashem say to each one of us, Banim atem laHashem Elokechem. You are my children. I chose you from all the nation. You are children. I'm your father. When a son of the father is doing a sin, or a stranger is doing a sin, the son hurt his father a lot more than the stranger. So if I see a Jew that violates Shabbat and a goy who bow down to this idol, both of them is a very big sin. Hashem also doesn't want the goyim to follow their idols. But who hurts Hashem much more? The Jew. Because that's his son. And the punishments are greater. And the reward is greater. And the heaven and the other places are in a much higher level. So what do you see from here? 100%. So here there are 4 reasons why a person should put his energy to save the children of God, which is our brothers, before he deals with anyone else. You know, most of the sins, as we all know, start with the eyes. There's a famous Gemara, which is very hard to understand. I never understood this Gemara, I have to admit. Never. I read a lot of comments about it. I still don't understand it, for one reason. I'll tell you why. First, let me tell you this Gemara. There was a Tana, his name was Matya ben Harash. Very holy man. He was watching his eyes carefully, not to look at the ladies. Now remember, the ladies of 2,000 years ago are 100 times greater than our Rebbitzins in their modesty. Nothing to compare to the ladies on the streets here today in Brooklyn. So he saw a not modest lady. Who was it? The Satan. Satan came to him as a not modest lady. I don't know how not modest the Satan dared to be, because it's all going according to the generation. But whatever it was, there was a woman that she wasn't modest. And when Matya ben Harash saw that picture, you know, first second, it's not a sin. It can be an accident. You made a turn and something happened. The second second, the sin begins. If a person continues to look, then the sin begins. First second, you can move it, but the damage is done already. It went in. It's recorded in the subconscious. In your next Gilgul, when the parapsychologist will hypnotize you, and he will come to August 14, 2 o'clock, 2 or 3, and he say, tell me what you see. This is in a different body, the neshama. I see a not modest lady. I made a turn in Manhattan, horrible thing I just saw. Well, it's 8 years later. It's still recorded in the neshama. So the damage is there. It's the same thing like eating worms. Not all worms is deoraisa. Some worms is kosher. It's not a sin. There's a big argument between the poskim if it makes the damage of v'nitamtem ba'em, שתהיו מטומטמים. What's metumtam means? You know what metumtam? What's metumtam? Who knows? Stuffed up? What's metumtam? If you ask an Israeli professor from the Hebrew University, he'll tell you metumtam means dumb. It's not true. Retarded, not true. You know, in Hebrew there's no milim mirdafot. The Ramban say, even though sometimes it looks that 2 words mean exactly the same, check again, there's something unique about one of them that is different than the other. There always has to be a different. Not 2 equal, like in English, sometimes you can use 2 different words and it's exactly the same thing. But 2 different words. Over here it has to be unique, something special, yichudi. So, nitamtem means cannot tell the difference between good and bad. The mitzvah look like a sin, the sin look like a mitzvah. All of us are partially metumtamim. Because many of us put our energy on sins. We think it's a mitzvah, but it's really a sin. Sometimes it's two mitzvot. A very big mitzvah and a very small mitzvah. And most of us will go for the small mitzvah, thinking we're doing the greatest mitzvah. Let me give you an example. I was in Shabbaton in Englewood, and one very big Baal Chesed Rabbi from Bet Shemesh came. His name is Rabbi Arush. He has a big mach. He gives food to hundreds of families in Bet Shemesh that are in a need. He comes to collect money. So after the Shabbaton, we became very friendly over the Shabbaton. Accidentally, we got to the same place. You know, there's no accident. Speaking Divrei Torah, okay. Now Motzei Shabbos, he showed this film. It rips the heart to pieces. And you see people looking at garbage, they don't have food for Shabbos. Horrible things. For Americans, you don't believe things like this exist in the Jewish world. People cannot fix their teeth, children don't have a place to sleep. Horrible things. So there was a couple over there, wealthy couple. And you know, the woman, the heart begins right away to melt. So she ran quickly, she brought a check, they wrote a nice check, and me and him standing in the kitchen. And she comes and gives him a check. And she says to him, she says to me, she was embarrassed for me that she only gave him a check and not to me for my CDs. So she said to me, Rabbi, don't worry, next time, Bezrat Hashem, we'll give for your work. But that's right now much more emergency, she said. But he is a tzaddik, this Rabbi Arush, an honest person, no games. So he told her, no, you're wrong. He was about to give her back the check. He told her, you're wrong. That's a much more urgent thing. This is saving the bodies, and this is saving the souls for eternity. It's much more important. But, you know, she's not a Talmid Chacham. She didn't buy it. But was he lying? Nothing to even think about. Every normal Talmid Chacham, not even Talmid Chacham, a beginner in yeshiva, first year, who doesn't know that the neshama is 1,000,000,000 times more important than the guf? The guf died of starvation, but died a tzaddik. Or he lived an extra 30 years and died a rasha. What's the question to compare bichlal? The neshama is eternity. It's a divine neshama. You're comparing the body, if it was hungry or not, fine. There's nothing really to compare here. But 99% of the frum people, when they write their donations, it's for poverty, for clothing, for food. Yes. But when it comes to saving neshamot, $18 check. Why? Because this is what the Torah says, v'nitamtem b'hem. And it's all of us, with no exception, some more, some less. Very difficult to think with the brain. Usually the heart is always winning against the brain, usually, unfortunately. So Rav Mattia ben Charash, Rav Mattia ben Charash took a knife, he burns the knife, and he made himself blind. Why? Because he saw a not modest woman. Accidentally. Accidentally. The Satan, the Gemara said the Satan flew back. I don't remember, 400 parsaot, 40 parsaot. It flew like from shock. He fell down, the Satan. So Hashem sent Malach Raphael direct. The one is in charge of the refuah in the world. The chief doctor of the world, Malach Raphael, to cure Mattia ben Charash personally. And he said, I don't want, leave me blind. Why I don't understand this Gemara? Because it says, Ezu הגבור, הכובש את יצרו, not העוקר את יצרו. If a person knows he has a weakness, and he's doing something to his body, that now he's not going to be able to make the sin, that's not a mitzvah, that's a sin. Person castorized himself, that he won't be able to be with a woman. And because of that, he cannot make sins anymore. And he comes to Shamayim thinking, well, what a tzaddik I am. I never made a sin. That's not a mitzvah. Hashem wanted you to live in this world with this desire and overcome it with the instructions that the Torah gave. Not oker et yitzro, kovesh et yitzro. In that case, if it was a mitzvah to do oker et yitzro, better to commit suicide right away. Age 13, bar mitzvah. Because most of us do much more sins than mitzvot. That's reality. That's the famous machloket between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. 2.5 years, the chief rabbis of the world are arguing in a philosophical debate if it was good for us to be created or not. And believe it or not, in the end the conclusion was better not to be. גמרו ומנעו שטוב לו שלא בא לעולם. נוח לו שלא בא, that's the language. נוח לו שלא בא לעולם. ועכשיו שבא לעולם, יפשפש, ימשמש במעשיו. That's it. I never understand. How can it be that the rabbis, as great as they be, even Moshe Rabbeinu, would dare to contradict something that Hashem did and come with the conclusion that it wasn't good? Doesn't Rabbi Akiva and Nachum Ish Gamzu say Akol Gamzu Letova, Nachum Ish Gamzu, Rabbi Akiva say Kol Man David Rachmana Latavavi? That's one of the principles of Judaism. That everything is Letova, Letovato Shel Adam. The Ashgacha and this, all of a sudden, an exception to the rule. Was it good to come to the world? Better not to be created. Now you're stuck with the situation. You might as well grab as much as you can. That's really what it sounds like. But it's not quiet. This is not what it really means. Chazal didn't say tov lo. Tov lo sheba la'olam. Ora lo. If they would say tov lo, ora lo, there would be a big fira. But they didn't say that. They say noach, comfortable. Life is a picnic? The answer no. I have to sweat and to try. How Chazon Ish wrote? Biyoti shavur veratzutz kol hayamim. You know what does it mean, shavur and ratzutz? Shavur means broken to pieces. Ratzutz means that you take the pieces from the floor and grind it in a mixer, it becomes sand, dust. Chazon Ish compared himself in his situation, in his efforts in the Torah. He couldn't get up from the chair, couldn't stand. 3 days in a row, no food, no drink, no sleep. To understand Shura Achat in Rashi or in Tosfot or in Marsha. That's how he was learning. To the point that he was fainting. And he couldn't get a mash. People in the books, I saw witnesses who testified that if you wouldn't hold him, he would fall. To such level of learning. So in the end, they said, Noach lo. Noach, of course it's not Noach. Adam la'amal yulad, who wants to work? You have to earn. You have to get a work. You have to do. You came here to work. You didn't come here for a picnic. So Noach it's not. Don't expect a picnic. פת במלח תאכל, מים במשורה תשתה, ועל הארץ אתה ישן, all this thing, the famous Mishnah. תורה נקנית ב-48 דברים, it's out of our league בכלל, this, if you read the 48 things. Not that we have to eat bread and salt all our life. That's not what the Mishnah meant. The Mishnah meant that food for you should never be an addiction. Whatever you have bread, fine. You have nuts, or this kind of bread, that kind of bread, not the crackers, whatever you have, you eat, you're full, fine. Not going crazy. This kind, sushi like this, steak like this, how the dessert's gonna be, how it looks. Put some flowers on it. Like today, we all in a frum world. Became very, very in style, all the food. $500 a person. It reminds me when the survivors came to United States after the Holocaust. One time, one rabbi told me, you know the Statue of Liberty? Around it, over there by the port, by seaport, you have hundreds of pairs of tefillin in the water. In the water. I said, tefillin in the water? Who would throw a tefillin into the water? It's erasing the ink, Shem Hashem. He said when the Jews came from the Holocaust, all the Ashkenaz Jews that came from Europe, survivors, 1 out of 30, 1 out of 50, 1 out of 200, survivors. I don't have to tell you how they looked. Some of them had some pairs of tefillin. So when the boat got to the port, they had relatives in the United States who were very heavy and nice looking, tuxedos. And one of them screamed, Moshe! I wish you would come a week ago. We just made a wedding to Brachale in the Plaza Hotel. When they heard that, they make a fancy wedding when the brothers and cousins are burning. They just couldn't take it. It was too much for them. So one person took his tefillin and threw it into the water. Everybody else took their tefillin and threw it into the water. They survived the entire Holocaust. They didn't throw the tefillin into the water. They're giving their life 5 o'clock in the morning to put tefillin, and some of them will get shot in the head in the middle. Every day like this. They didn't throw the tefillin into the water. They saw their mother, sister, children going into the chambers. They didn't throw the tefillin into the water. They saw there's no ve'afta l'ra'acha kamocha, noseh ba'ol im chavero. Nobody cares. Everyone egoistic. Everyone cares about his stomach. They couldn't take it. See how important it is? Kol Yisrael arevim ze lazeh. They couldn't take it. We threw the tefillin into the water. Yeah. So, Noach lo la'adam. So Rav Matya ben Charash made himself blind. Malach Raphael came to him and he said, I don't want to be cured. He came back to Hashem. He said he doesn't want to get cured. Hashem said, give him my personal guarantee in writing that he will never be nichshal ever again with a woman, to see a woman. And after he got this guarantee, he gave him back his vision. So we see from here, the eyes is sarsur la'avera. What sarsur means? Sarsur, it's a broker, a middleman. Yeah, that's what it means in Aramaic, sarsur. The eyes see, the heart begins, then the entire body participates in a party and he loses everything. But let me ask you a question. The Torah says, "Lo taturu achre levavchem ve'achre einechem asher atem zonim acharem." By the language of the Torah, you see that the main averos that the eyes brings to the life of a person is znut, modesty issues. But why the Torah say, "Lo taturu achre levavchem ve'achre einechem"? Should have been the other way around. First, what happens? First, the heart begins to make the sin, or first the eyes see the sin? Where the sin really starts? Where is the dot that the sin begins? In the moment that you saw a not modest woman, and then the heart wake up to the sin and the rest of the body? Or first the heart and then the eyes? How does it go? Which one follows what? Who is the middleman here? The heart or the eyes?
The heart follows the eyes, but the sin starts when the heart works.
Very good. It's like the famous question, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? It could be one way or the other. What did Hashem make? The chicken and then the eggs came, or it was an egg and the chicken came out? So the answer is, there are two kinds of Yetzer Hara. Two kinds of evil and inclination. External and eternal. Internal. One you are born with, and one exists in the world. And they work very well together. One feeds the other. There's only one difference. The temptations in the world are equal to all of us. Food, not kosher food, stealing, money, wealth, emuna issues. Everyone deal with this. It's all over the street. Modesty, it's to every man on the street. Not to one or two, to everyone. But since we all came to the world with a different Yetzer Hara, each one of us, each one has a different Yetzer Hara. I prove to you. I always like to give this example. Take 3 kids, 2 years old each. Take a bag of pretzel. Give to each one of them. 1, 2, and 3. Come to the first one. Moishi, give me 1. He gives you 1. Give me another one. Gives you another one. Give me another one. He takes 1 or 2. He gives you the whole bag. Very generous boy. Gave you the whole bag. Not crying. Goes back to play. Come to the second one. Itzi, give me 1. He gives you 1. Give me another one. He already gets angry. Gives you the second one. Give me another one. Ah, begins to scream. You come to the third one. Give me 1. Not 1. He doesn't want to give you. No, I just gave you the whole bag. Give me one. No. You took one without permission, he burns the house with his screaming. So how can it be? I like this example very much because it proves a lot about life. These three children, anyone ever lecture them about emunah, about wealth, about how difficult it is to get pretzels or to get money? Maybe I have 5,000 bags of pretzels to give them unlimited until you choke from the pretzel. Why you don't want to give one? Who taught you to be stingy? A person that is 20 years old and is stingy, you understand where it comes from. He's told that his parents having hard time paying the rent, they have money, they don't have money, people that have money have comfortable life, people who don't have money have difficult life. So he doesn't want to be here, he wants to be there. So that's why he's trying to save. It's his common sense, which is all based on the wrong assumption, but at least we understand his logic. But the kids, how do they know? They're born like this. So why Hashem bring three different individuals? Stingy, generous, and half and half. And it's not only in money, in modesty. Loyal, not loyal, and horrible. Like mamash, cheater in everything he does in his life. How can it be? One, angry. One, it's not so angry. One, quiet, mute. 5 years, not one beep. The kids, you see right away. Try to get on his nerve, nothing. The other one, you make a beep, the whole store is on fire. You didn't give him his chocolate. So what's going on? The answer is that's how he died. You take it from where you left it, your test. You die stingy, but you were Shomer Shabbos. You already corrected your Shabbos problem in your previous life. When you're born, your father is a Rav, Shomer Shabbos, you're born in Borough Park. Shabbos is not an issue for you. You grew up with this. But anger, you did not correct. So yes, you're 17, your beard is starting to be nice and grow. Still angry. No one will take it away from you. You have to work on it. You learn a lot, you're religious, you give tzedakah, you're mamash chassid. Still angry. You're still stingy. You still have no emunah issues. Because this is how you died. Every one of us comes with a negative that we did not correct yet. Now it's another chance to correct. One day the chances are over. We're not going to be here forever. Another Gilgul and another one and another one. In the end, one day it's over. And once it's over, that's it. No more chances. As long as we're here, first of all, it's not a great thing to be here, like some people think. Why? The fact that we're all here, it's a sign that all of us are losers. If we were winners, we would be with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in heaven. You need to do a tikkun again. If a person failed in a test, they call him tomorrow again to come to school. School already started. All the kids playing with their bikes in the neighborhood. Moshe, what are you? I have to go back to school. Why? I failed in my finals. So I have another test. He failed again. He comes again the next day. Everyone goes playing the pool, camp. Every day he goes again to the class. He's hoping he's going to pass the test. So that's good. So he answered, yeah, but they give you a candy in a class. There's a candy. That's where we are. Oh, it's great to live. Wow, I have a nice car. Candy. But what about the main thing why Hashem sent you here? Well, that's nobody focusing on. So before we finish, and maybe you have some questions, I just want to conclude everything we spoke about. Rule number one, get it to your head. If you didn't do it until now, and I'm talking to myself before I even talk to you, if we're not going to learn every day and be very serious with the learning that it comes before everything, Aseh Toratcha Keva u'melachtecha arai, the Torah is my life and my work is, it was forced on me. I can live perfectly fine without it. But the Torah is everything I have. No phone, no time out, no one day yes, one day no. I must understand. Chazon Ish sat down for 3 days on one line. And after 3 days, he just couldn't understand it. So he banged on the table hard. זה חייב ללכת, he says. It has to go. Stuck here for 3 days. Today, we have one kashya in Tosfot. 2, 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, let's move on. מה, when are we going to finish Shas? לא עליך המלאכה לגמור. Didn't come to the world to finish Shas 101 times. Rav Chaim Kanievsky does it. Don't worry. You focus on your mission. Even 1 page. Yeah, do you know? Maybe it's your purpose in life. You know the famous story of Rav Moshe Feinstein with the boxer. Did you hear that story or no? The Siyum. You hear it or no? Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Say it?
Say it again.
I'll say it quickly. One boxer sends his kids to yeshiva. The kid comes with tzitzit. Slowly, the kid makes his father religious. He becomes a Baal Tshuva, Lower East Side. And then he sits for a few years and he learns Gemara. And after 3 years, he finished 1 page. 1 page of Gemara. And he decided to make a party, a siyum. So he was, so naive. I don't know what was in his mind, this old man. So he called up Gdol Ador of Moshe Feinstein, the busiest man in America. And he said, Kvod Harav, I'm making a siyum if you can come to my party tomorrow. Well, Moshe Feinstein said, what do you mesayem? What do you finish? What? Shas Mishnayos? Shas Gemara? Masechet? What siyum? So he said to him, I finished 1 page. Everybody else would laugh. 1 page, I finish it. When I close my tefillin, I finish a page. Every minute, what? But he got the point. He said, wow, if this person make a party for finishing a page, it has to be something substantial. So, okay, what time I come? You know how the rumor goes in the neighborhood. Everyone heard Rav Moshe Feinstein go over there, so everyone came. It was a very important event. So Rav Moshe Feinstein came to the stage, and this is what he said. He said, sometimes a person come to the world 60, 70 years, all the trouble he had to go through, and the only reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent him to the world in a Gilgul, in his reincarnation, was one reason, to finish a page that did not finish well in his previous life. In his Shas, 1 page wasn't good. In Shamayim, he didn't have kinyan on that page. 70 years, getting married, children, traveling, running, hospital, coming, in, out, Parnasa. Finished that page finally. And guess what happened? 2 hours later, the old man went home, went to sleep, and never got up. Famous story. That's it. Finished his page, and he went from this world. Hashem put words in his holy mouth. So we don't have an obligation to finish. We have an obligation to learn. Even 1 page all your life. In Hara, where is it? Hara Menuchot. In Yerushalayim, in a cemetery, there's 1 grave. And in the Matzeva, in a stone over there, it says like this. 1 person who died, Gamar Masechet Rosh Hashanah uMasechet Beitza 400 times. His eulogy is in 2 lines on his grave. What's the story with this person? This person started to become blind. The doctor told him, if we operate on you now, we either save your vision or you lose your vision immediately. It's a 50-50 chance. If we don't operate on you now, in 6 months from now, for sure you'll be blind, and then there's no way to correct it. Every person that hears such a thing, take the 50% chance that they can save his vision, no? No? Okay, let's gamble, 50-50. What, it's better to wait 6 months for sure to be blind for the rest of our life? But he was Yerei Shamayim. So he started to think, if I go on a surgery now, and I become blind, which is 50-50, I won't be able to learn Torah anymore. Can't read, nothing, Gemara, nothing. And I won't be able to learn anything by heart, because I never learned so well a page that I know it by heart. So let me learn 1 or 2 masachtot, that when I become blind, if I become blind one day, at least I will know 2 Gemarot by heart that I can constantly learn without getting bored. A whole Gemara and another Gemara. By the time I finish the second Gemara, I go to the beginning and it's a circle. So he decided not to take the operation. And 6 months later he became blind. And from that moment until the end of his life, he was learning Masechet Rosh Hashanah and Masechet Beitzah by heart every day of his life. So when they died, they wrote on his grave, learned Masechet Beitzah and this 400 times. He gave up his life, his colors, seeing this world, everything. Can enjoy food when you don't see. It's a problem. It's not only that you cannot see, it's affecting everything in your life. Iver chashuv kemet. Blind person is like Hashem Merachem, comparing, the Gemara comparing like a dead person. So what happened? He decided to give it up. Why? That at least to make sure that he'll be able to learn Torah. But if tomorrow I'll be blind, I won't be able to learn Torah. Being alive without able to learn Torah, what value life has? Tov li Torat picha me'alfei zahav v'chesef. So the conclusion, Torah every possible minute. A person has to educate himself. That's it, that's it. No more games, no more too much sport, party. Where were you in the lecture yesterday? Birthday party. Who has permission to give up shiur Torah for birthday party? Birthday party? Who invented this nonsense in Judaism? What is the source? Is a Mishnah that you have to celebrate your birthday? Where does it say in the Torah birthday? Paro. Yom Huledet leParo. If it was a mitzvah to do a party, I wouldn't give an example from Paro. It said Yom Huledet leMoshe Rabbeinu. Why? Yom Huledet leParo. All of a sudden, every Jew has a birthday. I never understood why people celebrate birthday. Maybe for the kids, they bring them cake with candle and some candy, fine. But for adults, every birthday should be a mourning day. Just lost another year of my life. I'm celebrating. My battery died another percent. Another. When your battery on your laptop dies, you make a party, 10% less. Soon the laptop will go off, you're stuck in a plane, you're walking, you're typing, wow, I have nowhere to charge it. Can you make a party? Yeah, you're upset, no? Why you make a party when your life gets shorter? Because people don't know what life is. When a person was about to die, they had in a yeshiva, one person went with a page, and he went to the whole yeshiva. Everyone will donate something to a friend that he'll get out of his sickness. 50 pages of Tehillim, the whole Tehillim. 10 pages of Gemara I learned for him. One person, I daven for him every day. Everyone, he came to the Rosh Yeshiva. Rabbi, what are you giving to him? So he thought, he said, okay, I'm giving you 1 minute of my Torah learning. I say to him, Rabbi, he gave 10 pages, he gave 1 month, you give 1 minute? So he looked at him, he said, do you know how much I do in 1 minute? Give it to him 1 minute. If we murder a person that is 120 years old, and we murder a person that is 20 years old, about to get married and establish a family, same punishment in the Torah. Where is the justice? This person will die tomorrow anyways, 120 years old. Cannot see, cannot hear, it's laying in a bed, connecting to machines. So he disconnected his machine 5 minutes. And here, this is a 20 years old guy, he started to learn, he's about to finish Shas. You come, you shot him, you kill him, the same punishment? How can it be? Why the Torah didn't prorate it? From 0 to 20, this. From 20 to 40, less. From 40 to 60, less. From 60 to 80, it would be more logical, no? The answer is that even if you took 5 seconds of the life of a person, it's already deserve execution. Because you know how much a Jew can do in 5 seconds? 1 sentence he said before he died can change his eternity, everything. He was heading to the worst place you can imagine, and that sentence that he said, Hashem, chatati, aviti, pashati, forgive me, I'm sorry, give me another chance, change everything around already. What's the proof? Gemara in Kiddushin. Person comes to a woman, earring over ear, 5 earring in his tongue, and the other ones, he cannot keep his head straight already from all the weight of his earring. Tattoos all over his body, smoking, I don't want to tell you what. He comes to a nice girl from Bet Yaakov, when he says, listen, I want to mekadesh otach, קדשי לי, על מנת שאני צדיק גמור. That was the biggest joke in town. He wants to marry her, this guy, the way he looks, this hippie comes. What does the Gemara say? She has to get a get from Safek. Maybe she's מקודשת. רגע מקודשת. I didn't keep one Shabbat yet. מה את מקודשת? Let's give him 20 years, we evaluate him, and then we'll come with a conclusion if she's מקודשת or not. What do we see from here? But tshuva, even in the mind, already has a power. Before he even did anything. If a person says, okay, אני חוזר בתשובה, 100% and he died. He didn't keep one Shabbat yet. He didn't get to Shabbat. It was Thursday. Tomorrow it was an accident, he didn't get to Shabbat. His judgment is not like Mechalel Shabbos already. Because in his heart, he accepted 100% to start keep. Already changes his status completely. And over here, there's one kashya. Maybe you give me the answer next time we meet. About Shabbos, I understand. Mitzvot ben adam lamakom, I understand. Maybe in his mind, he regret, he's ashamed, he wants to do tshuva. Fine. What about ben adam lechavero? He owes money to people. How could she be mekudeshet? You cannot make tshuva before you give back all the money. There's no chance. That's a kashya. I have to think about. Why the Gemara was afraid that she's mekudeshet? There's a doubt. He owes somebody $5. That's it. It cannot be tzaddik gamur. לא מוחלים. No, אין מחילה. If you don't pay back what you owe, there's only one way to get out of debt. Even if you owe to a goy, you must pay him back 100%. Not allowed to steal from a goy. It's halakha in Shulchan Aruch. That some Jews like to forget this Shulchan Aruch for whatever reason. It's actually worse because it's double sin. It's also Chilul Hashem. So the question is, how do you get away with money that you owe? Someone like Madoff can make tshuva now? Can he pay back $50 billion? He won't be able to pay $50 billion, especially where he is right now. So how can he make tshuva? So why should he bother? Anyway, he doesn't have a chance to make tshuva. So the answer is, there's one way to make tshuva. If you call up all the people that you owe them money, tell them, listen, I owe you $100,000, there's no way I can ever pay it. Where will I start? I owe you, I owe 50 people. I'll give you $5,000 that I can get, in one condition, that you tell me that you forgive me 100% for the rest. If he said yes, $100,000 got erased from your file in Shamayim. Go to the next one. I owe you $5,000. I'll give you $300 and you'll be mochel me. If he said yes, Hashem is mochel you. Sometimes he can be mochel to you if you don't give him a penny back. So okay, I mochel the money. One sentence. I mochel the money, you don't owe him anything. What happened if he changed his mind? Too late. All you have to do is get him to say. With companies it's even easier. After 5 years you owe them the money. They know it's a lost case. So you tell them, I give you 10 cents on the dollar. In condition that you give me a letter of release. They'll think, where this crazy guy came from after we left him alone already? But the people who do not do it have a serious problem. You owe so much. You come to Shamayim, you kept Shabbat, yes. Kosher, yes. Learn Torah, yes. This. But you owe $500,000 to creditors. It's a problem. Gezel, it's a serious problem. It's hard to be clean with Hashem. Mi ya'aleh be'ar Hashem, it says. There's two explanations. Mi ya'aleh be'ar Hashem in the afterlife, ba'olam haba, and over here in days of Mashiach. Mi ya'aleh be'ar Hashem, who would climb in a mountain of God, who neki kapayim uvar levav. Someone that his hands is clean from stealing, and his heart is clean from all the other sins. So that means if his hand is not clean, how is he going to go in a mountain of God or in the afterlife? So it's the problem we have to resolve. Lashon hara. Very hard to correct. Better not to do. Money you can correct. You come, you apologize, you pay, finished. There's ways to erase the problem. Lashon hara, there's no way. You know, with the Chafetz Chaim, with the pillow. Somebody asked him, how do I correct all my Lashon hara? He took him to the building. He took a pillow full of feathers. He said, hit the pillow, hit the pillow. Thousands of feathers are flying all over. He said, now you want to do tshuva? Go collect all the feathers. That's Lashon Hara. For people to understand, once you release, you cannot get the bullets out. That's it, it's shot already. So it's better not to say. This is things that making us down. We gotta correct these things. If Hashem see we begin to correct, we do a complete evaluation, we judge ourselves every day, we have a notebook. Today I corrected this sin, today I'm not angry anymore, I'm not doing this, I will try to do more. He makes himself a notebook, evaluates himself every day. After 3-4 months, your life is a whole different life. Happiness, clean, the mind is more clean, you're less tired, you're focusing more on Torah, you're a happier person. The sins are destroying us mentally. The sins. The way of the Satan to destroy us is first he makes us do the sin, then he comes to us and says, see, Hashem cannot stand you now. See what the sinner you are? You see what the Rasha you are? Go lay in bed. Why are you going to yeshiva bichlal? After you made that sin last night, you went somewhere to Manhattan to do it. How can you dare to come and open the Gemara Rasha? That's the way the Satan is. It's called Aratzachta vegam yarashta. First he shoot at us, then he comes and take away everything we own. That's a big trap. A person should never be depressed, never give up. You made a sin 5,000 times, don't give up. Still alive. Ma yitonen adam chai, Hashem say. I don't understand why you're complaining. You're still alive. You can correct. Bilam, Yitro, and Yov, they gave an advice to Paro to kill the babies, not to kill the babies. Bilam got killed right away because he gave the worst advice. Yov got the worst suffering you can imagine. So who suffered more, Bilam or Yov? Bilam suffered 1 minute. Oh, a sword, finished. How long it takes to die? 9 seconds? 20-second pain? And it's over. Much better to be tortured for 20 years. Your kids are dying, you lose all your money, you become sick, you're mentally distressed. What's better? What do we see? Better to suffer 5 billion years than to lose the opportunity to do tshuva. That's what Hashem says. Suffering is the best thing that happened to you. What are you complaining? You do not correct on your own. I correct for you. I'm doing you a favor. I'm doing the job for you. You're supposed to do it. You're supposed to do tshuva. You're not doing, I'm making you suffer. I'm helping you out. But we're not accepting it with love. There's a lot to do. We all know. I could have talked from now until next year and we still don't finish. But remember the main message today. Without Torah, there's no chance. If you think you can be tzaddik without being connected to the Torah and devote all your life for it and start cleaning the Facebook away and all this news, internet, radio, 10 news, sports, baseball, if you want to live in 2 different worlds, comes the filthy world and destroy the healthy world. You cannot mix water and dirty oil together and expect the water to stay pure. That's it. You cannot live in 2 worlds. We have to make a decision. We have to choose a side. 1 leg here and 1 leg there. It's a problem. It's impossible. Most of us wants to live in 2 different worlds. We want to be full. We want to learn Torah. We want to keep Shabbat. We want to eat kosher. But at the same time, we want to do what the Goyim do. The music today, all the Jewish music became imitation of the Goyim. Food, everything all of a sudden became kosher. This, fake, that, fake, everything the same. Style, weddings became like this. This, fancy, schmancy, designer, people bring to do their house. Well, like you're going to be here 5 million years. All these things, and slowly, we don't have time for Hashem. We put ourselves in such an obligation that we have to fulfill our desires. There's no time to be righteous anymore. That's why the children, one after the other, are dying. One after the other, spiritually. No, they're not interested. Every minute or 2 I get a call. Can you talk to my son? He's not interested anymore. Can you talk to this? Can you talk to him? Can you talk to him? Comes from the house. What do you think? We got to clean it from the root. You don't clean the root canal, you can fix from the outside. The head becomes a balloon. Problem is not gone. Just look for a day or 2 nice. With the antibiotic and whatever, but you didn't fix the problem. You have a hole in a bridge, you're making a hospital downstairs? Fix the hole. No, everyone who falls down, will give him a first aid treatment. It's not going to fix the problem. It's either doing it the right way or staying with nothing in the end. Bezrat Hashem, thank you very much for Mordechai for inviting me here to speak. We're Birshut Arav and everyone here. So if you have any question, you want to ask me now or in person, I'm here. You have free CDs over here. And you can go into my website. There's about 1,000 lectures there. It's divineinformation.com. And, you know, basically anyone in the future who wants to participate on saving souls can take some brochures. I give these CDs free everywhere we go. We send boxes to Europe, to Israel, all over the United States. And Baruch Hashem, thousands of people got affected to keep Shabbat and mitzvot from these CDs. You want to have a share in this beautiful eternal stock, you'll be welcome. Thank you very much. Good Shabbos, everyone. Didn't die.
No, amazing.